All right, with the first Purge coming out on July 4th, let's talk about the first Purge. How are we going to say that now? Like, which one did you watch? Well, I watched the first Purge. Did you watch the first Purge or did you watch the first Purge movie? It's funny, too, because when I called, I actually bought this today because I didn't own this one. I owned the other two, and I was like, oh, yeah, I don't own this one, so I got to go pick it up today. And I was down in Phoenix getting my kids, so it was kind of perfect timing. I called on the phone. I was like, well, do you guys have the first Purge? And she's like, which one? I'm like, the first Purge. I'm like, and then you could hear her kind of like stop for a second. I'm like, no, the one with Ethan Hawke, the first one in the series. So it's weird with that first Purge thing. It's actually kind of a confusing title. Now, I think we all kind of can agree, and this is why I was excited about this rewatch. The concept of this film is fan-fucking-tastic. I think that most of us can agree on that. I'm sure there's people that would be out there who would disagree, of course. But for the most part, I think most of us can agree that whoever came up with this concept, awesome concept. And when we all went to go see this, we all had that same, and of course there's people that are outside, but let's just say, a good majority of us, we all wanted the same thing. We all were sitting there almost the entire film like, this would be so badass if we could see what was going on out in the whole world. Like, we want to, why contain this to one house when you came up with an idea that makes the entire country vulnerable to this? And whether or not they had the intention of expanding this into a series, I'm sure they probably did. Like, if this is popular, we'll give it a bigger budget and actually take it to the streets. Or they saw the the overwhelming demand for that film, and then they did give us that with Anarchy. But I remember just kind of sitting there, like I'm sure most of us, and being like, saying that to myself, like, why isn't this bigger? But it's because it's the first movie, and they wanted to keep it small, and they wanted to make the money, and whatever. And so I went back into this movie like, okay, you know what? I know I'm getting Anarchy. I know I'm getting Election Day. I know I'm getting the first Purge. Like, let's watch this movie for what it is and not sit here and critique what I want out of it, what I think they should have done. And let's just watch it as the movie that it is. And so I did. And I actually enjoyed it much more than I did the first time. Because the first time, I just sat there the whole time saying with all that stuff. And then I ended up walking out of it and being like, meh. And I feel like that was because of those expectations or desires, or should I say, for what the film should be in the next one. And when they announced Anarchy, it was like, yes, like we're giving us what we want. And of course, I wanted to see like the slums, not people who could afford all this, barricades and security systems. I wanted to see it in a place where people are fucking terrified. And I've said this, but I've said this many times on the channel. This Purge television show, I desperately want them to watch my videos so that they can take this concept and run with it. I want to see a 24 version of the Purge. Like, I want to see a television series that is 12 episodes long or 13 episodes long, and each episode is 1 hour in the hour of the 12-hour annual Purge. And we could just see the whole thing from beginning to end and people's journeys through it. It is such a fucking great concept. I'm not trying to pat myself on the back. I am. But it would work so damn well. I really hope when they do this Purge TV show that they at least do something like that. I want it to be set all on one night. The whole season should take place in that 12-hour span. Anyways, send me the paycheck in the mail, people. All right. So this is set in 2022, and this annual Purge has been going on for a little while. I don't think they specifically state how long in this one, but I do think they specifically stated in the next one. If they specifically stated exactly how many years, I must have missed it, but it looks like it's been going on for a while. Now, the opening little text tells us pretty much outright that this is working. I mean, it's fucked up, don't get me wrong. I'm not supporting the thing by any means, and who knows if this would actually work. It's a fictional world. But in their fictional world, it seems to be working. It says that violence and crime and unemployment are at record lows. They're at like 1% unemployment. That violence is almost non-existent. That crime is like ultimate low, and it just almost never happens. So it's hard results to ignore, and I completely understand the desire for that kind of world, but at the same time, like, at what cost? You're basically getting everything that would have happened happen all in one night. So you're getting it all, you're just getting it condensed into 12 hours as opposed to just sporadically, all over the country throughout the whole year. So as I said, at what cost? The opening's pretty vicious, and it's just kind of a prelude to what's going to come in Anarchy. You got all these different like closed circuit cameras that are throughout the city, and they're just showing people being beaten and stabbed and shot. And it's gruesome shit, man. It's pretty gruesome shit. I mean, it's not super gory or anything, but it's gruesome. It's fucked up. And I was surprised by that. I don't really remember all that footage at the beginning showing us like what's going on in the world. So we kind of did get to see what we were asking for, but almost like they were showing us a taste of what we were going to want throughout the film, and then we never got. So it was almost, going against the film in a way because of that, but whatever. So we got Ethan Hawke in here and Lena Headey from Game of Thrones and many other things. Ethan Hawke has been said that he doesn't like horror movies, but now he's done the Purge, and he's done Sinister, and he's done, so it's like, as soon as you need a paycheck, buddy, I guess you like him a lot. Happens all the damn time. So this security system they have, it looks incredible. And he even says that in the movie. He's like, it looks good, but nothing is impenetrable. And she's like, it looks good? And it's like, yeah, it does look good. Speaking of looking good, I'm glad I picked this up on Blu-ray. I have the other two on Blu-ray as well. The Blu-ray, man, is beautiful. Great looking freaking transfer. Holy crap, I was blown away when it came on the screen. It looked fantastic. So definitely, if you like this movie and you have a DVD and you're like, should I upgrade? Yes, it's fantastic. And I like how on the little commercial on the TV it says that the government actually encourages your participation. They want you out there, which of course then goes to the point of like, because it says in there that level 10 officials and whatnot, politicians are off limits. Oh yeah. How fucking convenient for you guys. The guys who made the rules are off limits. Yeah, sounds pretty damn typical. It's like all the leaders now who send our soldiers to die. Like, used to be, once upon a time, the leader of an army would be at the front of the fucking charge with these guys. Or at least, like, there. They would be at the battle. Maybe in movies they make them at the front of the battle, but in reality they're probably back in the tents, like telling people to do. But they were there. They could have gotten killed. They could have shot. Like, now they're in fucking, these bunkers, and they're sending. Fuck all that. You want to start a fucking war? You better fucking fight in it. That's all I'm saying. I'm not trying to get political here, but with this film, how can I not? So, but yeah, I like how they say they encourage it, and I feel like that's just furthers the point of like, they want all you lowly little motherfuckers to die. This is like their way to get rid of people in poverty. Like, the reason unemployment, the reason all this stuff is at an all-time low is because the people who can't defend themselves are getting fucking brutalized on this night. Like, they're just going out there and they're cleaning up the trash. That's not my words. I'm just saying, like, that's the way that their minds would be thinking. Like, all right, let's let them go out there. They'll fucking kill the homeless. They'll kill all these people who are in poverty, all these people who don't have these elaborate security systems that aren't worth those people's time. Like, they're not going to spend their time trying to break into these elaborate mansions. They're going to go out and they're going to find the easy targets because that's what they want to do. These people who want to purge, these people who are nutcases and actually want to go out and kill people for fun because they think that their body needs it. And I also like that it's addressed that you can't use anything higher than a class 4 weapon. So it's like, yeah, no nukes, no fucking, rockets and missiles and shit like that. Like, they don't want destruction of that magnitude. I'm glad that was addressed, because that kind of like opens up your brain to like, well, what then is possible? So when you take out certain officials, because it's like, why don't you go for the president, and why don't you blow, try to raid like NATO or something and get in there and get a bomb, a huge bomb, and blow it up in the city or something. Like, that's not legal. But I mean, I'm guessing facilities are off limits as well, because you could just do whatever you want. And then once you're in there and you blow up the bomb, it's not like they can arrest you. So I don't know. I feel like there's some other rules to it that were not being shown. That's just kind of the very mild gist of it. But I was just thinking about that. Like, what would people do? Because people, certain people would go absolutely insane. And I just can't even imagine. I mean, I should probably kind of save this for the end. But like, imagine like once this is over, like waking up to this car. I mean, most people probably don't sleep on this night, but like going back out into the world and seeing what the hell happened. I also think it's really messed up that they broadcast this live on television. Like if you're not in it and you're not participating, you're watching it. I don't know. That's almost even more messed up. Like, I'm not saying guts or the balls or the, I don't know, but like, you don't have the stomach to go out there and do it yourself, but you're going to live vicariously through the people who are purging. Like, are they trying to get ratings, and are these people who are watching it trying to get some thrill out of what they're watching, or are they like, because they think it's good for the country, it's kind of like sports to them? Like, I don't know. The whole idea of televising it to everyone's house is really, really messed up. So I was watching that being like, wow. And so yeah, so Ethan Hawke comes home, and his little daughter's boyfriend is there, and she tells him to leave, and of course he doesn't. And we find out later, because when I was watching this, I was like, really, dude? Like, this dad doesn't want you dating his daughter, and your idea is to stay in the house during the purge when the dad can do legally whatever the fuck he wants to you, and that's going to be your time. But then we find out that he goes to kill her father, and I'm sitting there like, okay, I thought when I thought you were actually going to speak to him, I thought your plan was dumb. But your plan even is dumber than that, because your plan to get this girl to be yours is to kill her father, who is in the way. I mean, that's his idea. Like, once he's gone, then there's no barrier between her and him. And it's like, you don't think she's gonna be upset that you murdered her father? Like, clearly this guy's off in the head and whatnot, but it's like one really dumb decision being replaced by another one when I find out what he's actually thinking of doing. So what a dumb fuck. I'm glad he died. Man, maybe it sounds like I need to purge, right? Jesus. Dumb fuck. It's a dumb fuck. Anyway, so this guy is out there and he's crying for help, and that's such a fucking like hard scene, because the guy could be bait. The guy could be baiting you. Like, they could send him out after they beat him up and bait people to try to come out so they could kill more people. Or he could do this himself to try to bait people to help him. They're really working on your trust, which I've always said in any review that's something for some reason that irks me more than anything, when people take advantage of people's trust in movies. I don't know, that fucks with my head. I hate it so much. But that's such a hard situation. And the son, who's probably my least favorite character, and I think if whatever I don't like about this movie is mostly centered around that kid with the glasses and the little like Toy Story fucking car robot thing, I don't know, his character is not great for me. I don't like him. I don't like almost anything he does in this movie. I don't like the actor. I don't like the kid. I just don't like his character. So he can fuck off for me in this film. I think it would have been much, much better without him. But he's kind of the one that fucks like a lot of stuff up. He lets the guy in the house, which he shouldn't have done. And he then helps the guy out against his family, even though he knows these guys. He was told by his father, who is the head of these security systems, and he's telling him, his son, right to his fucking face, like, look, if we don't give this guy over, they're going to get in here. This thing is not impenetrable. In fact, it's really easy to break into, really. We just try to make it seem like it isn't for, people's, mindsets, whoever buys them. And the kid still helps the guy out and helps him hide. And I get it. It's a morality thing. He wants to help the guy. And he even says to his son earlier in the movie, like, I know that's hard for you in this moment. You're a kid and all this. I get it. Don't get me wrong. Like, I understand the mentality. I would have a really hard time with it too. But it's frustrating. It is. And it was moments. But I get it. I get it. It's not a knock, honestly. It's just that moment where you do have to be like, yeah, man, that's a tough call. But his dad told him to his face, like, this is how it has to be. That doesn't mean it makes it any easier. But I don't know. That's like one of those things where you should let your dad handle it. But at the same time, I guess if he didn't act, he would regret it forever. It's an impossible situation. But the kid just still annoyed me. Yeah, there you go. Okay. I don't have a great argument against it. He just did. Where am I? So, yeah. So these guys who are chasing him, and the guy here on the front cover, the main villain here, the guy who's coming up with his friends, they are just talking about how this guy, like, I don't know if they like vet people, if they like target them, and they get like their sights set on specific people. Like, they seem to be after this guy specifically, and maybe only. I don't know. It seemed like the kinds of guys that would be going out and cleansing a lot of souls, as they say. But they seem to be very hard up over this guy, and they say that he's grotesque and that he's homeless and this and that. And it's like, I don't know how many homeless people there are at this point. I mean, the Purge has been going on for a little while. Poverty is this and that. Like, it isn't there anymore almost. So I can't imagine there is many, especially in that area. So I guess he's just this drifter. Man, if there wasn't more encouragement to get your shit together in this world, I mean, I guess that's yet another point to the thing. Is like, this Purge pushes you to try to become more successful so that you can afford stuff to protect yourself and your family. So these drifters are just not getting with the program, and they need to be cut from the lineup. But yeah, so they're chasing after him. Let him out, or we're going to fucking come in there and get him. The guy who's the main villain, he's okay. He tries very hard to be menacing, and I think that he is a good actor, and he does the best to his abilities. But he's just not that scary to me, personally. Like, I'm like, let me at him. Fuck these guys up. Like, these, man, you want to put some on there? Why don't you get like a gun turret up there or something? Just fucking, just take them right the fuck out. He needs some other cool stuff out there. Freaking, shit should come up from the grass and just... Okay, I'm getting a little sci-fi here, but it could be done. Hey, shit, Walter White does it. Is that a spoiler? I don't know. All right. Not really. Where are we? And I do like the line, though, that the guy says, this main villain guy. I don't think we ever get his name, but I like the line where he shoots his friend, because his friend comes in and he kind of interjects and cuts the guy off, which he doesn't like. He's the main voice here, and he shoots his friend, and then he tells Ethan Hawke, like, he's like, that was my friend. And you're not. Like, imagine what the fuck I'd do to you. I just shot my friend in cold blood. I thought that was a great line. That was like a really good warning to Ethan Hawke. Like, did you see what I just did? Get your shit together right now. So yeah, as I said, that line really worked for me. So I dug that. And yeah, I mean, we were gonna fight. They pull down the fucking barricade so damn easily. But I do like that, Ethan Hawke decides, like, once they kind of see that this intruder, that this guy that the son helped out or whatever, is a good guy, because he finally wrestles him to the ground, he tapes him to the chair, this and that, and then the the dude is like, you know what? He sees how they're interacting, how they're a family, and he feels bad, and he feels like it's his fault. So he's just like, you know what? Like take me out. Like, save your family. It's fine. Which could have just been a play, honestly. Because he's like, all right, last ditch effort. I'll look like the good guy. Maybe they'll feel sympathy for me. It's possible. But he does end up being a good guy at the end. So I don't know. It up and for her interpretation, I suppose. But I do like that Ethan Hawke's like, you know what? Fuck that. We're fighting. And he goes and he grabs all his guns and he's just like, let's prep for battle instead of going against, because he doesn't really have any desire. He tells his son that maybe if they were in a different place, but he does tell him, like, we have no desire to do this. The wife definitely doesn't. She looks at him like, even when he's like, yeah, maybe, and she's like, huh? What? Like, she's looking at him like, I don't even fucking know you right now. Like, I'm completely against this shit. But she lives in a society where this is recognized as the sane thing to do or the normal thing to do. So I think she's just kind of like, I thought we were together on this. Like, you actually have any interest in this? So, and she really sticks to that at the end, which originally I didn't like, but actually in this version, this time, should I say, not this version, it's the same fucking movie, but in this watch, I actually liked her decision at the end of keeping her neighbors alive, weirdly. I didn't like it at all in the first one. I was like, fucking kill them, which is how I usually am, but I don't know, the more I paid attention to this movie and the way it was all playing out and the way she had such an aversion to this, I'm not usually that kind of person, but I actually did enjoy her decision making at the end. But let's get to that in a minute. But they pull down the barricade so easy. They just hook the thing on it, back the truck up, it comes right off. Oh my God, man. He rips some people off. He's the number one salesman in like his district or the country or whatever. Man, those dudes need a refund. You better be sending them one in the morning. And let's see. So, yet again, this is another movie that does this whole stupid ass thing with gunfire not drawing people to your location. So Ethan Hawke is fighting all these attackers in his house and he is shooting them. And the people, like, they then cut to the people walking through the house and they're still looking for them. You didn't just hear the gun blast? Like, I don't understand that when that happens in movies. I get it, these guys are psychotic and maybe they're just biding their time and whatever, but they're looking for them. Like, they're looking around corners and stuff. You didn't just hear the fucking revolver? And then when he's fighting these guys in like his game room, his billiards room or whatever the hell you want to call that room, he has a pumped shotgun, shoots one, fights another one. They're breaking shit. They're hitting each other with axes. That fight scene's actually badass. Don't get me wrong. There's some good shots. There's some CGI blood when he blows the girl away. But outside of that, he sticks the guy with the axe in the back. And then when he's finished with all of them, he goes around and he shoots most of them to make sure they're dead. That was bad fucking ass. And I guess it does kind of go to that point earlier where I was saying that he says if they had it. So maybe he does have that killer instinct and she doesn't. And he just doesn't do it because he's a family man, but that is in him. But yeah, it just doesn't lure really anyone over there. Really? Like, I get like the main guy waits around the corner so he can knife him in the stomach, but I don't know. I just, while they're fighting, he could have so easily taken him out, but maybe he likes it up close and personal and he doesn't really actually care about any of his friends. I mean, he shot one of them, so maybe he's just sitting there like watching it, having a good time, watching this guy purge when he's this king locked up in his castle and now they've pulled him down into like the lowly mindset of these guys who go out and actually purge. So I don't know. Of course I'm overthinking it and trying to give character development where there may be not any, but I like to have fun with these kinds of movies. I just can't believe they don't come out. And then the neighbors come to save the day, which is pretty cool. And die. No gunfire. Oh God, this is another negative on the movie. There are so many fucking moments in this film where it's like, we're gonna die, and then someone shoots them off screen. Like the daughter does it, the neighbors do it, like somebody else does it, maybe Ethan Hawke does it, somebody else does it. They're like, no, the dude that they helped in the beginning, that's right, he does it. I think like 3, maybe 4 times. 3 for sure, maybe 4 times. They were like, oh my God, we're going to die. It's going to happen. And then they go to shoot and then they get shot, which usually only happens 1 time in a movie. It happens a lot in movies, like, you know, in all these movies that we see, but never usually like 3, 4 times in the same film. I couldn't believe how many times it happened. It was like, we're going to do this again? It's not... Oh my God. I did like that Ethan Hawke died, though. It's not because I didn't like his character, and I don't like Ethan Hawke or any of that stuff. It just seemed like they were going to get out of it unscathed, and Ethan Hawke, and when he gets stabbed, you're like, he'll be all right. Like, he'll get out of this. Like, they'll figure out a way, and then the ambulance will come, or whatever. No, he just dies. Like, he's just dead. Like, he goes over the stairs, they're holding him, and then he's just gone. Like, he's dead. And, yeah, that is what would happen. So, I like that. And then, so then the neighbors, and this is when the dude they saved came in, but, the neighbors were going to kill them. And then the guy comes in and shoots one of them. And then he's like, what do you want to do? And she's like, no one else is dying tonight. And so they sit there at the table with them. And the chick sees, because it goes 7 to 7, and the girl goes for the gun, and Lena like hits her and smashes her face, and blood's running out of her face. She goes for that gun at like 6:59 in like 30 seconds. Like, she's like, oh my God, I only have like 30 seconds to make my move. Like, I want this bitch dead. Like, you could see, like, in that moment, because the purge thing goes right off, and I'm sure there's a clock in the room. So I'm sure they were sitting there waiting and watching the clock. And I'm sure she was just, like, biding her time and being like, I should do it. No, I should. And then when it, like, got down to the last second, she was like, if I don't shoot this bitch now, I'm going to have to live next to her for a fucking year. This is going to be awkward as all hell. Like, I got to go for it now. And then the thing goes off, and she's like, all right, time to get out. Like, I feel like they could have then killed her. Like, how are you going to prove that it happened at 7 o'clock in 2 seconds or whatever? But whatever, it doesn't matter. So they go home, it's over. But just think about that. Like, what then happens from there? Like, what was their life like after that moment? Like, you're just going to go back to being neighbors? Like, no, I can't imagine. So it was weird to think about that. But then the dude that they saved, I don't know what the hell. I don't know if we ever get his name. But he's like, all right, like, you good? And like, he goes to leave, and I'm sitting there like, well, I mean, maybe you should offer the guy a place to stay since he saved your fucking life. He's like, you saved his life, and he saved your life, so you're even per se. But he did save your life, and this guy's homeless. I mean, and there is a vacancy, especially for the male. That's fucked up. But you could have offered him a place to sleep, so maybe this doesn't happen to him again. Like, get him on his feet so this doesn't happen to him again next year. Like, you're clearly wealthy as shit. Like, he saved your life. Your husband is dead. He seems to be a good-looking fella, so, hey, why don't you stay here for a couple days? I'm fucked up. Oh man, could you imagine what the hospitals would be like at 7 a.m.? I mean, people must just be sitting outside of there, and then the hospital doors open up, and it's just like, oh my God, and just the mayhem of this whole fucking night, from March 21st to the March 22nd. So yeah, I'm surprised that this new first Purge doesn't come out on March 21st instead of July 4th, but I guess it's more of a, holiday, American holiday. It's their version of Independence Day. So this went way longer than expected, but it was good. I enjoyed it. I do think that a second watch and an understanding of what this film is warranted here. So I dug it, and I look forward to the next. I really like the next one. I love Frank Grillo, so I'm looking forward to watching those. I'll get back to you guys on those tomorrow. Good night.